Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. I decided to do this all in 8 millimeter. I don't know what happened yesterday. I went live for 32 minutes and it only gave me 17 minutes and something. So this is also a test run. So I was in the middle of talking about yesterday as Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary show. A lot of the stuff that I wanted to happen happened, but a lot of it didn't. And I'm not going to be going outside or anything because the temperature is 12 degrees Fahrenheit and it feels like 4 below zero. I will be releasing this today. Our plans kind of like got canceled, so this will be the only thing that I will be doing today. But let's get right into it and talk about last night's Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary. I did watch all of it. A lot of the stuff that I wanted to happen happened, and I guess from the way that I understand it, a lot of it snuck through. There was some things that I thought that were pushing it a little bit, and I look at it this way. If you pushed it currently, you can push it by using some of the clips from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Only fair. Were some parts of SNL shocking? Yes, I thought, and I'm not going to hold back on this, by the way. I have no filter on this one. I thought that Miley Cyrus should have picked a different song. For those that you don't know or have not watched it yet, Miley Cyrus did Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connell. For those that do not know, in the early 90s, Sinead O'Connell sang a song, and then she said some stuff about the Pope, and she tore up a picture, and she was banned. So when Miley Cyrus sang that, I was like, holy crap, where did that come from? And I don't know if Sinead O'Connell's family complained. And Prince wrote that song, so I don't know how the Prince estate feels about that. But I didn't know from the past that he liked Fred Armisen's Prince. So I guess the family is with it. I don't know how the family feels about Miley Cyrus. Like I said, I'm going to go for the jugular on this. I really wished that they would have done a lot more 70s and 80s, but looking back on it, a lot of it was taboo, but still they could have used a lot more. I thought the memoriam part was funny, of things that you cannot do away with now, but sometimes you sneak it in and you're not supposed to. But I just wished they would do the tributes to the SNL alumnus that were not with us anymore. They should have done a better job with that and give each one of the cast members that were not with us anymore equal time. Um, I really wished um, that the celebrities were not overly used. To me, the celebrities were well overused with it. I did not mind the Lawrence Welk sketch with Fred Armisen. That actually worked. And that skit actually worked. But to overly use celebrities instead of the SNL alumnus working together in unison, have people from the 70s work with the 80s, the 90s, and like what and so on. Um, there was some of that, but we both watched it. Me and my dad watched it, and we wanted more SNL alumnus interaction. That's what we wanted, and we got it, but it was not enough for us. Um, I did not think the one thing that really ticked us off. Um, they had Black Jeopardy, and I did not appreciate. I'm gonna say it. I did not appreciate, regardless if you're Republican, Democrat, race, color, or creed. And I'm pretty sure that all of America and the world would agree with me. We did not appreciate Tom Hanks interrupting Eddie Murphy's time in that sketch. It really should have gone to Eddie Murphy. I did not appreciate that. To me, that was disrespectful. And to be honest with you, I was very surprised that he even had the guts to put on the MAGA hat, because we all know that Tom Hanks is a Democrat. But I we really did not appreciate that, and whatnot. Did we love the show? Yes, but it was just those little things. Um, like I said, the celebrities ruined it. I mean, for like what they should have done, um, over the overall, they could have included a lot more of the 70s and 80s and stuff. Obviously, there's stuff from Saturday Night Live that you can't do today. For people that have not seen it, I'm basically kind of spoiling it, but basically I am not. Um, but there was some jokes that was in there. There was a skit about 1975, and if you knew the times back then, you got it. But for people that are younger, they didn't get the jokes or anything. And there was obviously I got the joke. It was Scarlett Johansson dressed up, and she did kind of like a skid row thing, and it was basically from Little Shop of Horrors. A lot of people went over the head, but if you got it, you, you know. Did we love it? Yes. The overuse of celebrity was overly used, like skit wise. But for the audience Q&A, we thought that was okay. But for skit wise, um, no, we did not enjoy it. I think it's time for Weekend Update to go because it's not funny anymore. And I actually loved it when Bill Murray did a skit in Weekend Update that really dug into Weekend Update, and I stand up and I applauded for Bill Murray. Really gave him the hell for, because I appreciated that. And were there celebrities that shocked me being seeing? Some of it was good. Like, it was nice to see um, a certain person from a rock and roll band that was not Paul McCartney, but seeing Jack Nicholson. And when you have not seen Jack Nicholson in a while, it was nice. Like I said, the overuse of celebrity was not cool. They resurrected some sketches, and I would really like to have like more, like Debbie Downer, and it had like the original cast with it, but the celebrity they could have put in like Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray or Chevy Chase or something. You know what I mean. Now, let's talk about Garrett Morris. Garrett Morris, the original SNL, to me, brought the house down. He is 88 years old. And he did a tribute to John Belushi. And you can find it on YouTube. It was great. It was great. And they should have did a bigger tributes to everybody who has passed. They should have chucked out the extra money and extended it for another hour just to give the SNL alumnus who are not here. I'm not going to spoil the tribute to John Belushi, but seeing Garrett Morris up there, that was awesome. That was awesome. Do I think the 50th anniversary is bittersweet? Yes. Because, a lot of the people are up in age. The one thing I would have changed, and they got to get their experience somewhere, and they're funny, but they don't, how can I say this? They're doing the best that they can, but I don't really truly feel that they have the experience like the other alumnus did. It's like they knew the show from their generation or very little. What they need to do is to go back, and I hope that Lauren Michaels, and NBC do this, is to take the young writers now and the new cast now, really take them for like 2 or 3 or 4 weekends and make them watch shows. Get advice from the past writers and say, this is SNL. This is what you should be writing. This is how you do comedy. And it was a skit. The title of the skit on SNL was Scared Straight. But I can also understand them being starstruck. But that being said, they needed to focus, and you know that they're young and everything, and I assume that every Saturday Night Live alumnus to the 75 all the way on up was starstruck. I get that and I understand that. But they don't have, I'm sure that they're talented in their own way, and it's hard to find ideas to do with the woke and the politically correctness that we have now, that restricts that. Some of it I understand, a lot of it I do not understand. um it's okay to do it, but you gotta know when to stop. But they really need to get to the heart of SNL and what desired them to want to audition for Lauren Michaels and NBC, because, in fact, me and my dad, we were talking about this last night before the show started. It stopped being funny um, when the last talented cast, and that was Jason Sudeikis. I know I'm gonna forget a lot of people. Jason Sudeikis, Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, that that genre. When that the last cast of comedy greatness left, and they left a few years ago. To me, even though that cast had a lot of the old Kenan Thompson is the last one of the iconic ones left. I don't know what's going to happen after Kenan Thompson leaves, because I just didn't think about this until just now. Well, there's pressure because you got like big shoes to fill, and I'm doing this in 8mm because I wanted the classic TV SNL look, archival TV footage from the 70s. That's what I wanted. Yeah, they must have like constant pressure, but when that cast left, and oh yeah, Kate McKinnon wasn't the other one, Leslie Jones. When that cast left, and this is my opinion, and even my dad agrees with me, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not with this. When that cast left, I felt that the classic, it was modernized, but it had that old school feel. It had the 70s vibe, the 80s vibe to it, the 90s, and the 2000s. When that left, SNL modernized. And in my opinion, it stopped for me being funny during the late Obama administration. Of course, there's gonna be taboo subjects that you can't talk about now, but when that cast left, that particular, did it lost its heart and its soul? Yes, but there's still like a little bit glimpse of the past through Kenan Thompson. Now, when Kenan Thompson goes, would that be the death of SNL? In my opinion, when Kenan Thompson goes, it's already modernized enough. It's really gonna modernize even more without Kenan Thompson. I know there's like a lot of things current that you cannot touch. They need to rights they how I'm trying to think of the words here. They can do more pushing of the past a little bit, like with the commercials and stuff like they did back in the 70s. They can do that. They can the weekend update. Don't even get me started. In fact, well, shit, I might as well go there. And I'm going to be brutally honest. Weekend update has not been funny since Michael Chi and I can't think of his Colin Jost started. Because in my opinion, they keep pushing the political thing. What they really need to do is to cut down on the political thing and bring it back to what Weekend Update did without going with the J New ignorant slut. Yeah, I said it. Who cares? But I'm going to be totally blunt with you all, and I'm not going to hold back my 2 cents, obviously. But they did other things too that made, like Garrett Morris. They did a thing called Weekend Update for the Hard of Hearing. They should bring that back because, people now, we have like hard of hearing, and, they need to bring Weekend Update back and take the, and I understand why Bill Murray did what he did. I understood that. Because if you know the history of Weekend Update throughout the years, sure, Weekend Update went there, but they knew when to stop, and they added things to it to make it funny. Weekend Update now is too serious. They're focused too political and not on the little human interest stories that Weekend Update did it in the past to give it a balance. To me, the Weekend Update, like I say, for something like this, I have no filter, and I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to give my political 2 cents with this. It's too serious. It's too blunt. I think that Chris Joe and modern Che, they do a good job. Do not get me wrong, but they need to bring it back and bring it more funny. Like, case in point, they need to bring it back to where Norm Macdonald, Seth Meyers, Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Colin Quinn. They need to bring that back. I wished, and I love Bill Murray for giving the Weekend Update people hell for it. Just look up Weekend Update SNL 50, then you know what I'm talking about. It was a slap in the face, and it was a dig, and bravo, Bill Murray, you rock. They need to, I'll give them credit. They're doing a good job, but they think that they're God Almighty and they cannot be touched. I don't know if anybody has sensed that with the Weekend Update. Yeah, I'm blunt. They need to bring back the funny in that. Like they brought in a couple of. Sure, it was nice to see Cecily Strong. Do not get me wrong, but I would have loved to have that lightened up. I don't know if he was in the audience, or was he in a work related thing, but I would have loved to have seen Bill Hader do a Stefan. If you know, you know. Look up Saturday Night Live Bill Hader Stefan. If you know, you know. But I would have loved to see him during the Weekend Update. But in a way, I'm glad that the Weekend Update on SNL 50 was fantastic. I would have to say Bill Murray giving the Weekend Update, in other words, how can I say this? SNL FU dig. Because I can see the frustration with the 70s cast, 80s cast, 90s cast, and everything. It's like they're trying to, Michael Che and Colin Jost are trying to erase that and only make them feel that we're the only Weekend Update. So to have Bill Murray see that, because I thought that for years, but to have an SNL alumnus, Bill Murray, who, knowing him and being on SNL and interviews, he don't get mad that often, but when he does, he will dig you. I mean, embarrass you, dig, even though that it was kind to have meant to be funny. His sense of humor, and I've been a fan of his since I was very little, and to know his humor and to know his personality through TV interviews and being in different scenarios, and for Bill Murray to do that, it was like what everybody was feeling. And I will explain. I don't think about what I say before I do these tributes. I just turn on the camera and I roll with it. It was like I can see how the people that have worked on Weekend Update in the past and have Weekend Update go into the future, it was like Colin Jost and Michael Che destroying the legacy of Saturday Night Live Weekend Update. That's the way that I saw it, and apparently that's what Bill Murray thought. And I know that he don't get mad that often. He don't. And he'll make it funny. but make you feel uncomfortable at the same time. But he made it funny. What Bill Murray, you have to understand the 70s SNL and the way that they did it. I will give you a history of Saturday Night Live from the 70s to explain why Bill Murray acted the way that he did. In the 1970s, obviously, there was no filter like there is now. You had writers that had no filter. They didn't give a shit. What they wrote, they went through. Because there was obviously, no FCC regulation at that time. You got away with murder back then for writing. All that changed just over 1992. Now, with that being said, let's get back to 1970s SNL writing and casting. The writers back then knew what the hell that they were doing. They were perfectionists. So was the original cast. And they deal it with pride. They take it with pride. You can see more of the proudness from the Saturday Night Live cast from the 70s. There was not so many cast of the 80s that was on that show because a lot of it was taboo. It was more controversial in the 80s than it was in the 70s. Believe it or not, there was. But I'm just speaking for the youngsters out there. But they took it with pride. The 70s did, the 80s did, the 90s did. Early 2000s did. Where the F did that go? Where did it get so serious? And of course, it's okay to be funny. But with Colin Jost and Michael Shea doing what they're doing, I can understand the frustration with the cast of the original Saturday Night Live and the casts that done Weekend Update. Now, I can't speak for Tina Fey and the modernized ones, but I am pretty sure I picked up on it. And I know sure as shit Bill Murray did. Because even though with his frustrations, and like I said, I've been a fan of the cast. I had to watch it in reverse the 70s, same way that I did with All in the Family. So I got to watch the 70s skits. And how proud of them that they were of the skits, the Weekend Updates. And to have Colin Jost, it's almost like, to me, Colin Jost and Michael Che are destroying Weekend Update. I have noticed this for many, many years, and I sure as shit knew that Bill Murray was thinking the same thing. What, to me, I have a lot of favorite memories of Saturday Night Live to begin with. This thing of Weekend Update. And I noticed that Colin Jost and Michael Che did not know what the hell to do or to be bargained with because Bill Murray put them in their place. I actually enjoyed it. In fact, there was a lot of things I liked about SNL 50. if I had, okay, I would have to pick three things. I loved, and I will talk about the beginning towards the end. I loved the Paul Simon, Sabrina Carpenter. I loved Garrett Morris for John Belushi. Number one, Bill Murray, Weekend Update, telling Colin Jost and Michael Che to shove it. That Bill Murray, that was my all-time favorite of SNL 50. Bill Murray telling them where to shove it. And I highly recommend that. Because, and then I will talk about the ending in a minute. But it's like Colin Jost and Michael Che, they didn't know what to do. And I love that. Because you've been put in your place by the master. It's like, don't you dare destroy our work with your political stupidity. In other words, what he was trying to say, get off your high horse. You're just like one of us. You just think that you're more relevant than us. And I read his body language. He wanted to say it, but his body language did it for him. But I'm such a fan of Bill Murray that I knew what he was saying through his body language. And I'm sure that Dan Aykroyd was probably in the audience. Same thing with Lorraine Newman and Jane Curtin. In their own way, say, thank you, Bill Murray, way to go. They were clapping. They had to. Because for that to happen, bravo. That was my all-time favorite moment from last night. Great big slap in the face, and I hope that they learned from it, because the Weekend Update is not Weekend Update anymore. It's not. And I would rather have nothing wrong against this new cast. They don't have the experience. And that's not their fault. They're getting their training, and they did a good job. I'll give them credit. And they were over their head a little bit, but I'm sure, like, you don't expect to be on, like, SNL. It's like Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon said it best, everything for his birthday, I wanted to be on SNL. You never know. Jimmy Fallon said it best. And then all of a sudden you go, like, from a kid, I don't know how young, they probably know, like, the late 90s or so, or maybe even younger. That's what I mean. They should go back and watch some of the classic sketches and learn and grow. And I hope that they learn from this amazing opportunity that NBC and Lorne Michaels has given them. But that was my all-time favorite thing that happened on SNL 50. And you know what? I knew it was going to happen. I just did not know when nor who. And that's what makes it so freaking brilliant. Now, okay, I'm going to talk about the beginning of Saturday Night Live. The way that of course, it's on SNL YouTube. I really wished what they could have done was showed some of the first episode of Saturday Night Live with John Belushi, and I forget the one guy's name that did the skit with him. And the Live from New York, it's Saturday Night Live. And I didn't even see Candice Bergen, because she was the first ever woman host of Saturday Night Live. But I would have liked to see, well, of course, George Carlin back in those days was controversial, but at least they should have had him like walk out and said, in loving memory of George Carlin. And then do Live from New York, it's Saturday Night Live. And then have Sabrina Carpenter with Paul Simon. For people that don't know, Paul Simon went into retirement about 1.5 years ago, and he came out of retirement to do Saturday Night Live. Now, let's talk about, I never thought I would ever say this. Let's talk about the end of Saturday Night Live 50. I can go on and on and on and on and on about Saturday Night Live. I thought that they should have included Billy Crystal in it, but looking back on it, the older generation would get the jokes and not the youngsters. So yeah, now that I'm thinking back on it, for the old timers like me that get the jokes, exactly my point. And but anyway, let's get to the ending. Now, what I did to make the SNL 50 better for me is that I got my way to edit the show. Like during the SNL 50, I actually added some John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, some Steve Martin to even out what I wanted. Believe you me, it was a hard choice. And I'm not going to be going outside or anything. I got some editing to do today. But anyway, I never thought I would ever say this. And I've been a Beatles fan for going on almost 52 years now. From what I heard when I watched it, I was wondering why Paul McCartney sang the last few songs, Golden Slumbers, Carry the Weight in the end, at the end of Saturday Night Live 50. I was like, where did that go wrong? Because I don't know if anybody else picked up on it, but a lot of other people did too. Apparently, Paul McCartney was supposed to do songs related to the period. And what I mean by the period, the history of SNL. Like Paul Simon, he understood the assignment because Paul Simon said, this is the song that I did with George Harrison from 1976. And apparently Miley Cyrus was supposed to follow in that. Same thing with Lil Wayne. I was hoping that Lil Wayne would do something to collaborate the 80s. I was hoping that he would work with Run DMC or Lionel Richie or something and do um, some Motown and songs from like the 80s. Oh my gosh. I just got an alert from my phone. Case in point, I just cannot believe I just got an alert. No Jacket Required by Phil Collins is 40 years old. Jesus Christ, Gary, you're getting old. But anyway, everybody was supposed to. Apparently, there was um a music concert, but that was only on Peacock, and some of it was good. A lot of it was like, in my opinion, it should have been music played during the SNL days, like from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Mix it up. Of course, there was some comedy skits to lighten up, like the mood. From what I did see on TikTok, I thought that Anna Gasteyer and Will Ferrell nailed it. But it should have been more toned to SNL 50, because a lot of the music, I thought that Fred Armisen and Devo, that was great. That was because that's what I wanted to see. Obviously, I do not have Peacock or anything like that, but I did see it, a lot of it on TikTok. What I did see, I thought that Devo was good, and Fred Armisen was good. I thought that Will Ferrell and Anna Gasteyer was really, really good. The one thing that, even though what I think happened is, I think, and I'm going to say this here, and I don't give a shit on who cares, for the Blues Brothers, I think Jimmy Fallon, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Belushi, which is John Belushi's brother, had a talk. I'll give you a topic. Discuss. That was Linda Richmond, and I'm going to touch that on for like a minute and say, we know how much passion that you have for SNL, and it showed in his work. I'm talking about Jimmy Fallon. And it showed in his work. The appreciation, the passion that he had growing up for the 70s, 80s, and everybody. He was so enthusiastic, and they saw that, and the original cast approached Jimmy. Of course, Jim Belushi had to speak for John and says, well, kid, you got the passion, you're going to do it justice. I did see that. It was good, but I really wish that Jim and Dan would have done it. But still, it was good. In other words, passing of the torch type of a thing. But the end of Saturday Night Live 50, and then I'll end this, because it's so hard to stop talking about this, because I have so many memories of it as well. But I love that FU dig from Bill Murray. But Paul McCartney's ending, I cannot believe this is the first time I'm going to talk negatively about the Beatles. I cannot believe it. Like I said, it'll be 50 years this coming June. 52 years, excuse me. I'm going on 54 this year. Do the math. Um, I just felt it odd that Paul McCartney would choose that for the closing. To be honest with you, and I guess a lot of people did too, because like I said, I was watching the Bob and Tom show this morning, and they thought that it was odd as well. This is the only upload that I'm going to be doing today. With the bad weather, it has been our plans have been canceled a little bit. But I'm going to wrap this up. I just thought, and probably everybody else thought, like, because I didn't know what to think of it, to be honest with you. Because I thought Golden Slumbers, okay, is this going to be a memoriam? Because they did the memoriam for the politically correct stuff that you can't do now. And I figured, like, well, shit. Where's the memoriam? And then I thought that when Paul McCartney came on, that they would do kind of like a little clippage thing. And I'm going like, whoa, and then that didn't happen. And I'm going like, what the hell is this? I mean, what does Abbey Road, even though that it came out 69, 70-ish, had to deal with Saturday Night Live? And and when I seen Lorne Michaels in the closing, I'm going like, oh my God, Lorne Michaels is pissed. And he looked at like Paul McCartney, you were supposed to do another I just didn't, it just, as much as I love and adore Paul McCartney, and I do, it just seemed, with the exception of Paul Simon, like I said, I have no filter today. I have no filter today. With the exception of Paul Simon, he stood the assignment. I don't think that Miley, and I'll be surprised if Miley Cyrus, I don't know about Lil Wayne, if he's going to be welcomed back. Probably they'll probably, the musical guests of SNL 50 might get a good talking to by NBC and Lorne Michaels. But I guess, with the exception of Paul Simon, didn't follow the musical assignments. I just thought Lil Wayne was good. I just thought that he would add in some SNL past music to it, like either if it's like from like Run DMC or the Beastie Boys or Grandmaster Flash or something to represent the 80s, which I felt like the looking back on SNL 50 was a lack of, to be honest with you. And I thought that that would be kind of like a nice little tribute. There should have been a little bit more diverse segment for SNL 50, I thought, because we're all equal in Saturday Night Live, and I just thought that a lot of the diversity was left out in it. But I thought the closing music should have been a lot better, more accompanied with SNL. What they should have done instead of having I'm shocked that I'm even saying this, to be honest with you. Do I still love and adore Paul McCartney? Yes. Do I think that he was out of place there? Yes. I really would have wished that Paul Simon would have came back out again and sang with Paul McCartney and did a song from the 70s a little bit. Because it started with the 70s and it should have ended with the 70s. That's my opinion. And I bet you a lot of the sketches, people, they're going to be getting a stern talking to with NBC, and I can't get into that. But anyway, to make it better, I did watch the whole red carpet and the whole show. The red carpet started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it ended right around 11:30. The only thing else that I would like to add, it should have went longer, a lot longer than what it did, for this simple purpose. They should have done a memoriam, and they didn't. And it shocked Lauren Michaels. And it shocked NBC that they didn't do it. They didn't. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. They did it with John, but they should have done it for Jan Hooks, Gildaradner, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, and I know I'm forgetting a lot more, but they should have done a memoriam. They should have. Even if it was like another hour. So what? They should have done the memoriam. And now, to close this out, a lot of people don't know this about me, so I'll reveal this here. I have two all-time favorite comedians. Nothing against the comedians. I love them all. But if I had to pick two, these are my all-time favorites. I'll start off with male, and I'm going to end on a tribute to my favorite female comedian. I'm just letting everybody know, like when I do my tribute videos, I do not rehearse these. Like I said earlier, I just pick up the camera and I run with it. My favorite female comedian, my favorite male comedian is Charlie Callis. If you don't know who Charlie Callis is, look him up. It's hard to pick a sketch to end on. And I miss her. Not only is she a former Michigander, but she was adored by everybody. So I'm going to try and do my best. Hang on, everybody. It's worth it. I wasn't planning on getting this emotional, but I guess if you love Saturday Night Live and you see it hating it being destroyed, it's hard to find your favorite SNL skit that she's ever done. I'm going to try and get through it. Hi, I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. And this is the Weekend Update News. Now, we have some breaking news story. Let's go. Let's do this. What we have here is a case of violence in schools. Violence in schools. Why are they mad about violence in schools? You take away the music, you won't have music appreciation. So, what is going on with violence in schools? Emily, Emily, it's not violence, it's violence. Never mind.